Good evening and welcome to another Earning and Learning sponsored by Fat Cat Capital. Unfortunately, we had some technical difficulties earlier, but we are back at 7:04. To summarize, we were summarizing what we did talk about last Thursday, and that was about how you go about getting your budget together and deciding first and foremost in your head that you want to go ahead and try to formulate a plan to move ahead financially speaking, allowing yourself to have enough money to at least pay yourself first. And then from the point that you pay yourself first, you start thinking about a financial plan that includes investing and moving toward a plan toward the future. One of the things I didn't speak about the last time was um, actually formulating a plan according to timeline. Now, for myself or anyone else, you can have a 5 year timeline, a 3 year timeline, or a 10 year timeline, but you got to have a point. You got to have a destination or a stopping point, which you can actually uh, track back and look and see your progress, or at least have some type of a milestone as you go forward for your bigger goal. And whether that's a goal of paying off your house or paying off a car or anything in between, you got to have some milestones. So, my co host, Queen B, thank you for coming back and joining me again. I know we had to kind of fast forward gears. Usually we kind of ease into it with a little bit of laughter and chuckles, but right now we just kind of catching everybody up to speed. So, you with me?
I'm with you.
Cool. So as far as the summary that we talked about last time, I gave them a background in case someone wasn't here or they didn't have anything to do it last week. I gave them a little briefing and told them what we actually talked about last week. Um, Now you talked about the 10-10-10 rule, and I was going to tell you, like I said, a friend of mine had mentioned that she said she liked that idea. She didn't remember what the three tens were, so let's start there. Let's start back at where you talked about the 10-10-10 rule, which is your version of you don't use the word budget, but your version of how you go about making a financial plan. What are the 10-10-10? What are those three ten?
Okay, the first 10 is I pay myself right, right off the top. I don't pay no bills first. I pay myself first. So 10% of everything I make, I pay myself. And then the other 10 is like I donate organization. I um whatever. Whether I sometime I do give tithes to the church. That 10% is, and then the other 10% investing. I take that 10% and then that 70%. That's where my bills come from. So it's 10 paying my, and most of the time that 10% goes back into my business, my own business, and then I have that 10% which is charity into the church, whatever, and then I always have that 10% to invest. So that's my 10-10-10 rule. And then 70% of the income, that's what's used for bills, car payment, gas, entertainment, food. I said, some people use 80-20. Some people use the 60-40. It just depends on what works for you. But for me, the 10-10-10 is easier. It's 10% of whatever, so I use 10-10-10. And the 70% for bills and everything.
I like that. The fact that you're using a percentage is good because anyone can use a percentage
For
because
you,
it's only going to be a percentage of what their
because
actual income is. So that's actually it's a good strategy to set up for someone who is like just getting started and trying to make sure that they have enough to cover everything. So applying the percentage rule can work in their favor when it comes to that. I was just thinking about when they say your housing should be no more than 30% of your total income. It should not be more than 30% of your costs for not for living. Your housing costs should not exceed 30%. This is a rule that they use in banking when they want to determine if you're able, or this is a rule they use when getting an apartment. They say, well, Some of them say you have to have 3 times your income, which is the same as saying 1/3 of it or 30%. 33rd or 30, around the same
Okay.
difference. So when it comes to that, do you also put that into the equation? So of that 70%, are you saying 30% of that 70% that's left over is going to have to go towards your housing? Or how do you apply that? Or do you apply it like that?
Percent side, I really don't worry about whether 30% of that. I know what my monthly expenses are. I make sure I have that there, and I don't really. I guess I never want to see if 30% is for the house, but I don't have that many bills either. The only bills I have, water, cables. That's it. I don't have any other bills. So if you think about, yeah, 30% is probably, or the bulk of my bill is my house pay. But I don't have a lot of people. It's very.
Right. Turn down your audio just a little bit. I do
I
believe
guess
that the
one day I
feedback
could
I'm
do it to
receiving.
figure it out if I really wanted to.
Yeah, I think the audio feedback I'm receiving is that because you don't have on headphones, so turn yours down just a tad, enough that you can hear it, but not enough that it will give feedback. So somewhere down in the lower decimals. Um, okay, so with respect to that being said, so
Okay.
yeah, you don't really know the number as far as it being 30% because you never really sat down and calculated, but you know you get everything paid in the end of the day. So somehow or another, it works out for you. And again, that goes back to, I guess where I'm at is with everybody. Um, First and foremost, everybody needs a financial plan. So whether you have a planner, someone helping you, or you figured it out yourself, having a plan, that's the key word, plan. Not having a plan, they say you can plan to fail, right, or you can fail to plan. If you have a plan, at least you have some map to go on. You have something you can work with. You can adjust it, whatever. If you don't make any plans, to me, my thing is that's setting you up for failure because you don't really. It's like closing your eyes and being in the dark and hoping that everything works out, or throwing darts at a dartboard and with your eyes closed. So definitely, when we talk about financial planning, I myself, I go about helping people plan. It's as far as getting the cash flow right. And then once I get the financial plan, or, as a, hold on, my phone almost slipped out. As a plan or part of the plan, uh-oh, let's see, I had that little sound. So it's a possibility that I got a audio issue. Um, as far as the plan is concerned, once I figure out what they need to do to get the extra income or derive the extra income, whether they go out and get additional income or they allocate their money in a different manner that they already have to create some cash flow. That's the first thing I do when helping them to plan. I help them first figure out, is there some excess money here that is we're wasting money. Once I see if there's some waste, then I can also say, okay, we take out some waste. We got money because we're not wasting money. Then I also say, well, is there other avenues of income? Meaning, is there other ways that we could bring in additional income? So when I combine the two, we now have that cash flow that we need to start thinking about the investment aspect of this whole equation. And again, a lot of people would love to do some of this stuff, but some people feel like they don't have any extra cash flow. But when I start doing some research and start looking at what they're doing, I mean, they may have not even noticed that they were wasting money on certain things. Case in point, say you get car insurance from company A, and yet you could have gone to company B and got a better rate, and you could have saved some cash flow, but you didn't even bother to investigate or see whether that was the case. Or if you have other expenses that are, for example, it could be a cable, it could be whatever else, and there's another company who's going to give you the same deal or a better deal, or at least lower that payment. That's little drips of money that's being wasted that we now can start putting together. Then we start talking about utilities. Are you wasting on running your water a certain way? Are you wasting on running your lights a certain way? Now that comes from the old school, like my aunts, growing up, they're like, cut those lights off. Whoa, or close that door. We don't live in a barnyard. And mind you, that kind of stuck with me, but not in a bad way, because my two of my aunts were very well off. They were very well off, as a result of how they were, they were cost managers. So there's a cost manager. There's different types of accounting. So there's a what they call a cost accountant or managerial accountant. They're concerned about making sure that everything stays where it needs to be. So taking waste out, adding income in where you can get from the outside, and not uh, I guess I could say burning money by using things inefficiently. I'll give you an example. Say if a person washes their dishes a certain way. Now this sounds crazy, but if you run the faucet, just turn it open and run it all day long and don't really care about how much comes out, you're wasting money. You're pouring money down the drain because you could have did it a different way. With I grew up like soaking them in one side of the sink, washing and then putting it on the other side and turning on for rinsing. Thereby, I'm not just running water down the drain. Now, that concept in itself sounds simple, but if you do that regularly, that's one of you not wasting down the drain. So, anyway, not to give the long version, but the shorter version is those are the three areas that I look at. I look at the utility usage, I look at the waste that could be better cost savings from different companies, and then I also look at the additional income that you can bring in. All of these avenues in order for us to arrive at um, more money. Last but not least, if you have any outstanding debts that have high interest rates. Well, when you start talking about paying off debts, credit cards, or anything like that, we're not just looking at the total amount outstanding. We're looking at the interest rate or zero interest rate. Over the past year, with the pandemic, a lot of the companies, credit card companies, have been coming to people and saying, "Hey, we'll let you just pay whatever you owe on principal. Forget about interest." Well, that's a good deal because now you're putting everything on principal, or they lowered interest rates or anything in between. If I have something that's at a 30% interest rate, but it's only like it's a $2,000 credit line, right? But it's 30%. And then I got something that's a $10,000 credit line, but it's 2%. Well, the 30% one I want to get rid of faster. Why? Because I'm wasting tons of money simply because I'm got 30% interest on that thing. So those are small little ways that as a financial planner I work toward getting that out the way. Now the last one, which I'll turn it over to you in a second, a lot of people have things on their credit report. And there's things on the credit report. If we're not talking about credit, then so be it. You don't have to worry about this. It don't mean a thing. If you are, then the things that are on the credit report, whether they are fact or fiction, make the difference. Whether they're errors or not, make the difference. And you get a free credit report every year that you can analyze for free, where you can go out and look and see if there's some mistakes or some stuff that's been on for 7 years or longer that's supposed to drop off. We go through all of that. Now we're looking at the credit report, making sure that's right. And if there's some things like nursing or medical bills, those things stay on there until you handle it. So are you willing to make settlements? Or are you willing to just say you can dispute it and they may not come back and say, this is a problem and you can actually get it written off just by disputing it. So again, a whole spiel of financial planning just to get to the point that we can say, let's start moving forward with a plan that's going to give you more cash flow. Now, turning it over to you, give me your approach, A to Z. How do you handle all those types of parts if you handle them?
Well, I'm going to say this. That's too complicated for me. I don't about water bill. I don't worry about no electric bill. I don't believe in waste.
Oh my
But
God.
that's just me.
Yes.
Um, I guess because that I don't have that poverty mindset. Not It's not some people. It ain't good for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think poverty. I don't think lack. I don't like box. Talking. I was sitting here like I'm not that. I don't turn no lights off. I don't worry
Mm-hmm.
water running. I
Right.
don't worry about none of that. I don't believe in waste because for me that's poverty. That's saying that
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to manifest these, so I can't do that. That
Right.
turn about no lights. I'm gonna pay bill. You did say I will. I had a car, and it was when my credit wasn't good. interest rate. But to what I did was made extra principal, and I paid that car off early. So me a lot, and it actually helped my credit report. So now I got my credit and high interest. And I agree, make sure you work on your credit repair. But I'm totally opposite. I'm not one of these people that like to be in a box that I gotta worry about that water run, darn the shower. For me, that's stress, and I live free life as possible. Not saying that I don't. Some things me a little bit, but couldn't handle that. If somebody was to put a box like that, I can't handle it. I I can't say that I have faith in my ability to money. Say that, say turn that light off, or I can't. Money is being wasted because it's going at a drain. It's like it have to pay it. Now, if I was one of these people, and I'm going to say this, if I was somebody who ends were tight, that's the lifestyle you got to thank God, universe, whoever. I'm not in that situation. I'm not in a situation where I have to cut this out. I'm going to have to say I'm going to say that. I'm going to find a way to bring in some more income. You got to make sure, and this is one of the things that have multiple sources of income. You can't just to have one source of income. Where everything is going in today's society, if you're not able to hustle, I mean, it's too many things out here you could do that's going to help you to get that passive income, alternative forms of income, or whatever you do to have that flow. Like if something, like if I have a client and they cancel, I know I got to do something else to make that money. Well, I really don't have to. Nice little savings line. However, I don't like touching that savings, so I have it so that I have multiple income. Another thing that people got to look at. A lot of people say, "Well, I don't want to have my own business." Well, when you have your, then you don't have to depend on no hustle, but you hustling for yourself. I'm not saying it's nothing wrong with having a 9 to 5, because I had a 9 to 5 and was maintained, but it was multiple sources of income from the Marine. So that's another source. Yes, my little Smith partner right here, hook me up so I have multiple sources of income, and I have passive income. And that's how you need to set yourself up to where you live comfortably. But I do agree with everything he said. I mean, that way to go, some it just ain't the way to go for me. I can't put myself in a box.
So
I can't go
of
back
course
to that. Done that.
my
I'm stressed
phone
that
had to be
with
charged
the
up. So as
water
I change out
bill,
my
and
cord, I
I
won't
can't
have
do
my
that.
same audio. So I'll just pretend I hear everything. But for the most part, I can hear what you're saying. As far as your angle is concerned, your focus is on one side of the equation, which is the additional revenue, which is what you focus on more so than the other side of the equation. So I think if we're gonna help the people out there, I guess they gotta have the the avenues that you might give them as a helper. Give them the avenues that you can tell them about what would be some additional ways they can earn revenue. That would be one of the things that they would want to know, because we could be speaking from only our perspectives, and then we're saying, well, okay, we got it good because we figured it out. But in order for us to teach the people listening, we're going to have to give them some actual avenues. So let me put my phone in here, my my
Okay.
charger plug, which means I took this out. So this is now out because I have my charger in. So I'm gonna just pretend I kind of can hear you, but you'll be speaking to the people.
Okay.
So one is you'll give
Okay.
them like some actual, even though that's probably out there, everybody knows about Uber and some other things. But it helps to for the program to give them those actual avenues as to where it is you would derive this income, because your focal point is on the income, and so therefore you would have to go ahead and give them some actual avenues on the earnings of additional income. I know those avenues well, but I just I think about, and this is just me, the people who have and we talked about the lottery people who they might have $1 million and then they spend $1 million, and that's kind of why I do look at the mathematical equation of balancing the revenues and expenses, because I know so many people that are, I mean, we could be talking to people right now, they get a lot of money. I see some people with large cash flows and they spend it right up the same way, it goes right back out the door. So no matter how much these people get, they
Right.
still don't manage it because they don't know how to do anything but more spending when they get more revenue. So the more money they make, then the more they spend. And so they end up on a vicious cycle. So that's why I constantly try to look at it from a balanced perspective, like a business would, which is that a business makes more revenue, but that would be like people like McDonald's who make billions and saying, "Hey, I'm making billions. I ain't worried about costs." No, even a $1 billion corporation will worry about costs because of that. But again, your perspective is good in that you have the other thinking of, I'll just create more revenue. So that's why I said all you need to do with that mind frame is just say, well, give them some avenues that's actually out there that can be uh, a help to the people that are listening, because we're doing this for the people out there that are listening. So give them some avenues.
Okay, that's the fun part. Like you said, you have Uber, you have Uber Eat, you have Lyft, they have Go
It's your go.
walk people dogs if you love dogs. I mean, I ain't messing with them. You could drive,
And
you could
what we'll
use your
do is I'll
car
probably
and
have to
take
point in
people
your
to
direction
doctor's
when it's your
appointments.
time, and you could point in my direction when it's not my time. Because, like I said, the charged phone, I wish the phone was all charged. But go ahead and you speak.
Oh,
Let's,
okay.
let's see if I
So,
can get, I can get something to
reiterate what
put
I
in that
said.
light
You have Uber.
like I did
You could do
yesterday.
what I do. I have my own senior
Yeah,
care business,
I'm gonna not
which
use this
you set
system unless I got it
your own hours.
right.
You set as many clients
I
as you
have to.
want to do your own business. You got people. I'm not hiring it now, but I have friends that are looking for people to take care of old people. But it's got to be something that you love. Cook for people. You
Okay, let me see if we got you.
could do. Another little thing,
Oh, it looks like we're
little
frozen,
boxes,
but I
and
don't
one day
know.
show.
I think we may have a
Um,
frozen screen here.
well, this one right here is a prosperity box. You can make candles. You could take anything that you just got to make sure you build up for it. It's so anything that you like doing, you could turn a profit. Food places are hiring, or some people be like, I don't food. Get a, you know, Target looked up my savings account working in Target. Be a cab driver. You could be a bus driver. If you know English really, really well, you could be an English teacher for kids in Japan. They pay big money. I mean, really, really big money. You have to have a, I think you have to have a bachelor's degree in English. As long as you have in anything, you could English, Japanese students, really good money. You could tutor, go online and say, hey, I'll tutor your blog. You could do YouTube and get paid some accounts that they get paid big money. YouTube doing what we're doing now. So it's so much that you could do. It's for you to get get more income. But the bottom line is, if you really want it, you gonna find a way. If you don't, then you gonna find an excuse, and that's what it is. It's all how bad do you want. If you want it bad enough, you gonna find a way to get it. But if you don't, it's up to you. He makes greeting cards for people in prison and sell them in prison. And he's out, but when he and that was his hustle when he went. Now that he out, he's still still doing that same hustle, know, making cars and selling cars to the guys and things that you could do extra money. Even if you work part time, where 1 or 2 days a week, suggestions. I mean, just look around. Just look around, and I'm gonna hand it back to you. Back to you.
Well, I oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm done. No, I'm done. I was letting you know
Keep
I'm
going.
done.
I'm actually able to hear you on another system, so I'm trying to see if I can pull that up. You can continue. Let me just see if I can come up with another audio method. I'm almost I had something here. It might work.
Filling time. The site is actually having a little bit of problems. Kind of bear with
Yeah.
us and
So
give us.
I mean, I agree with
Just
you.
to
I mean, I
reiterate, because I
know.
see people in. What we're oh, he,
Okay, I see it's freezing up. Yeah. Yeah. I definitely can agree that there's a lot of revenues out there, but there's like I said, I go back to financial planning as far as my concerned. If you're working with me, go ahead. I might have cut you off. Go ahead. I can put your thumb up when you're done. Just give me a thumbs up when you're done, so I'll know.
I'm okay. I got a thumbs up.
Okay. I think you're done because I see you not moving. So, um, again, that's why I wanted you to give those people some actual avenues for deriving revenue, because at the end of the day, if we give them at least some way they can look at it, something they can look at, or some place they can look for revenue, then that's going to be helpful to them. I will be offering the financial planning, and I will be also sitting down with people, and I will be making some type of an arrangement with them. But they have to come to the table knowing that my approach is, what it is. It's a little bit different, meaning I'm going to look at everything so that at the end of the day, we can kind of start with a clean slate. In addition to earning the revenue, that's something else that I'll be discussing with people on a one-on-one basis. Um, but as far as the sources of revenue, I've seen a lot of people try a lot of different things, and that's good. Sometimes people have time constraints, and that could be because of children or whatever else, and they have to figure out individually how that can work best for them. But at the end of the day, we all want a financial plan that works for the individual person. So whether you do more revenue, or whether you cut your expenses, or whether you do both, it could be many different approaches to the same results. Financial planning, deriving income, planning for a better future, because that's what we're trying to get to for these people. At the end of the day, if they get to their goal, then that's what it's all about. So, all right. So that being said, you have the financial plan where you've got more revenue, you got that in the door. What do you do next? Well, the first thing I think, as I said before, is one thing is, if you have a goal, I don't care if it's I plan on paying off my house early, I plan on paying off my car early, I plan on having X amount of revenue by 5 years or 3 years or 10 years. You need to go ahead and put that out there. You need to put it out there, whether you're putting it on a vision board, or you're putting it, writing it down, and then all your goals, all your pathways are going to lead you to that result. So let's just say you're going to do like you said, in the case of a car, you had a car, you want to make sure that you pay off the car in a certain amount of time. How do you do that? You sat down, you said, okay, if I pay this much extra, maybe you had a certain amount you were going to pay and you knew it in advance that it would pay it at a certain amount of time or not, but you had to decide to add more revenue or more income to that car payment. That's what they have to decide. If you're saying I want to have a nest egg by the time the kids graduate or the kid to go to college, I want to have a certain amount of revenue put aside for them. Even if you do a Roth IRA, which is a college derived uh, savings fund, which is supposed to be tax free and you use it for college and college expenses, you still have to plan that out. How much you're going to put toward that every year. You can max out, your 401k. You can put the maximum out in your Roth. And these again are investment vehicles because now we're stepping over into the investment side. We haven't talked about individual investing and how I'll be dealing with individuals on the investing side as well. But if they can't clean up their financial house on this side, we can't even talk about the other side because it's just a mess on this side. Too much of a mess before we can talk about investing. We need to clean up the house. So we got the investing, whether you're maxing your 401k, whether you're putting maximum on your Roth IRA, whatever it is, make a goal. 3 years, 5 years, 1 year, and even have short-term goals because you have to have some level of achievement, mentally speaking, to make you feel as though at least that you're getting to the next level. If you don't have any, 10-year goal, have a 5-year goal, have a 3-year or even a 1-year goal, that's all good. As long as you have a goal. So if you decided you're going to pay off your house, your car, extra money, have a goal, set it and meet it. Once you meet it, plan another goal, and just so on and so forth. The same concept is when it comes to paying off debt. You could set a goal, you could pay off the smallest one first, and then take that money, and then the additional money that's you're not paying on that card, you're now paying it on the next card. Again, this is all a pathway. It's all calculated, all very calculated. So the steps are very calculated. I will sit down with you and go step by step what you need to do. Calculate each step so that you could say, okay, we reached goal or milestone, marker, number, whatever. That means credit cards are handled. Anything that's on the credit report has been decidedly either written off because you've challenged it or you've settled the debt, and you now have income that you're deriving because we've decided we're going to take our money and reallocate it in a different manner. In addition to that, we have additional revenue that Queen Bee has said you can go out and you can derive different types of revenue. So there's all the different avenues. So this financial movement is a whole package. It's a whole fixing and restructuring of your whole financial situation. So that's the first thing. All of those things we mentioned. And let's get to the investment. We talk about investments. We talk about a lot of different avenues. Now, you talk about index fund. First, you want to do is first thing we'll do is we'll have you explain what an index fund is, and then explain why you have chosen or did you choose that particular one. Not to say you don't have others, but why do you like the index fund? I know what it is, but I want to share the floor with you. So go ahead.
Hey, now you're talking what I have to talk about. Um, Index funds. Index fund is just a group of funds that are they're
I
not
think
necessarily,
we got a little delay. We're still
but
waiting
they're
on.
like you
Hold on, let me just see.
have Microsoft. Yeah, you might have Microsoft, or you might have you might have Sprint, and it depends on how many are in that fund. Most of them have a lot, and the reason I like funds is because it kind of keeps it balanced. The index fund, let's say we will keep it simple. Let's say you got 18 Sprint. Sprint stock might go down one day, and stock might go up. So it's kind of keeping your account balanced. And with an index fund, wouldn't have like just one fund with just all communicate. With mine, I have energy stocks. I have communication, re, senior care homes. So you put your money where
Yeah, we got it. We got
if
it.
one, the medical field, I invest in Kodak, CVS, all those places. What that index fund does, it kind of protects your money. It's for people that want to get into the stock market, but they want something that's a little less risky. So I would say for beginners that it's easy or it's advisable to get into an index fund because your money is protected. First started in the or investing. I would all index funds. I mean everything was so that that money balanced out. But now I actually buy individual stocks like Tesla. I have seen name it, well, all of them, FSL. But those individual stocks, they're not up under. I mean, you could get those stocks up, but now I like a bit more risk. When you're in an index fund, you're saying I'm going to take a low risk. You're never going to invest anything that you start investing is for long term. It is you can't make fast people today that was day trading Bitcoin and they got paid. They got paid. We'll talk about that on a different show. But for I definitely recommend that you do small index funds first, unless you have if it's a C that you like, make sure that you do your research on these companies. Just don't hop into a stock because it's a good stock. It advised me where to put my money. Be responsible for my money. Fat
So,
Cat does send me
just to reiterate,
some
you recommend
stocks
a
every day.
small
I
index
love it
fund.
since he been doing that.
I'm sorry.
Y'all gotta forgive us because it's going. It's like a big delay. He don't. He can't tell when I'm finished. For a minute, it's gonna play. Fat Cat, you go ahead. And he looking down, so I can't get his attention.
Okay.
But anyway, back
Just to reiterate, you said the
before
index fund is something
you
that's
put any
a
money
good
into
place to
anything
start.
that you
Yeah. Okay. All right. So first of all, we want to apologize for the audio. I think on your side, I think if you try using the headphones, I think it may make a difference because I think that the feedback is coming from you not having the headphones. I believe so. Most of the times when I look back later and I look at my camera and my audio, it usually comes back pretty clear without any uh, clipping. So I believe that it might have to do with your earbuds. So I'm gonna
I don't have
try, I guess, at least
it,
to
boys.
try
I'm
to
using computer, but see your
think about it from that perspective. So again, I apologize for the audio. Again, I did put my email address here, and I'm gonna just do that just as some side business to say wpkbmedia.com. Sorry, correction. Fatcatcapital@gmail.com is the email address for the financial planning to begin to email me so we can really get down to the nuts and bolts of an individual plan for an individual person. Because even though we're giving you general information, every person has a different situation and we can't necessarily give you information for your individual situation. So I just want to clarify that going forward. Email me at fatcatcapital@gmail.com and we'll get into the nuts and bolts of your situation and then we'll figure out what we need to do to make a plan for you. So moving forward, and to reiterate, the index fund, as she said, is a beginning fund that kind of gives you a safe way to hedge your bets because it makes a focus on balancing out the portfolio A mutual fund is pretty much the same, but an index fund is more focused on different industries, and it kind of keeps you balanced within the industry so that when one industry may have a little bit of a struggle, another industry is able to offset it as it continues to, the fund itself continues to grow. So that's a safe bet. Safe bet is not a bad bet, it's a good bet. Some people want to take a little more risk. You have to determine your risk assessment. You have to determine your level of risk you're willing to tolerate. Again, that goes back to the financial planning when sitting down and discussing what is it that we need to know about your individual situation to determine your level of risk. So, going back, one thing I wanted to mention, which was very important that we skipped over, and that is not, I'm not gonna say small business ownership, period. Not just small business ownership, entrepreneurship. We don't want to leave the table without leaving a very important message. The purpose and the main purpose of this. I got that dropped down. Well, the main purpose for this discussion is to get you to be an independent, financially independent individual. So if that means starting your own business, we need to also discuss starting one's own business. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there that are giving you information on how to construct a business, meaning to form a corporation. Okay, there's forming a business and then there's running a business. I deal with the running of business. I deal with the deriving of revenue, the growing of a business. I give you the information beyond just the idea of a business, in addition to the forming. I formed LLCs before. I've done all of those paperwork as far as that's concerned. That could also be part of your financial plan. But in addition to that, once you're into a business, how do you grow a business? How do you market a business? How do you market your particular product and brand your particular product? All that's part of a growth process. What is the plan for that business? Where do you see it in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? Are you going to take it public? Or are you going to have an estimated amount of revenue that you hope to earn in a year? Again, this is all part of a plan, because if I walk away from the table only leaving you as an employee, then I haven't done my job. I haven't done my job. I've done part of the job, and that's making you an employee. But the better job is actually giving you a sense of independence and getting to a point of owning your own business, because that's what this is really all about. So going back to the investment side, yes, we do talk about investments, and yes, I sell a stock watch list every morning. If you want to get on that email list, you would go to Fat Cat Capital and send me, I sell the list every morning about 8 o'clock or so. If you would send me, sorry, you have to email fatcatcapital@gmail.com, and you have to send me it the day before. That's how you get on that list. And of course, Cash App should apply. I do sell at less than 8 o'clock every morning. So getting back to the business, if you're at that point where you can actually get into this business, I can do referrals. If you're just a person who wants to get into the business of understanding stocks and you just want to, I do referral businesses. If you just want to refer people to me and you want to actually sell that list to them, and you can be a referral person where you can refer them to me and they actually go ahead and buy the list, I can get a referral program going for you where you can make a percentage. If you just want to buy it and sell the list every day, and then you buy it from me and then you resell it to someone else, I can get you going in that regard. So not only am I creating this information for you to go outside and get wealth and get revenue, I'm also giving you an opportunity to bring that information or that business to someone else and derive some revenue. So there's a job for you right there. A referral program. You bring me a guy, you bring me a person who's actually going to buy the list, and you get a percentage from that particular deal. If you in fact want to continue to just be the person who sells it to other people, then it would be a retail deal. You would resell it. I would sell it to you. You would then sell it to someone else or whoever else. It could be 5 or 10 people. But everything is derived from the first initial action of emailing me at fatcatcapital@gmail.com. Moving forward. So now we talked about the investment from index side. Mutual funds are pretty much identical but different. And I explained a little bit about them. They kind of focus on individual stocks too, but indexes are trying to balance or look at in particular the industries. Well, there's that's the industry. Banking is an industry. That, for example, they look at it as a whole. So when you get into individual stocks, which Queen was referring to, we have two different mindsets or two different things you look at. One is an investor and two is a trader. I'm a trader. She talks about investing. I invest as well, but there's a difference between investing and trading. Trading is trying to keep your books in all cash by the end of the day. Investing is holding on to the stock, either short-term investing, less than a year, or long-term investing, more than a year. Each have different tax implications. Short-term capital gains, you pay more, something so less than a year. Long-term, after 1 year, you pay less. That's when you talk about actually selling. You never pay taxes until you sell those things on those particular stocks. So that's a little bit of background information about how stocks work in general. And if you want my class is a set fee. Again, it's a cash up easy. Once you get into that class, you buy in. I'll also be willing to give you some type of hand holding or anything that it takes for you to get on point, and even to the point of using a paper trade account. But that is a class. It is a set amount of fee. You pay it. We get into the class. I give you the video and information you need to get started. And then I will handhold you at least, I don't know, 30, 60, 90. We might have a structure where we can have a payment in that situation. But I'm just laying it all out there. Laying it out there simply because I can't walk away having you just an employee at the end of the day. Even that is a pathway to self-independence. Having stocks that pay you dividends, having bonds that pay you interest, that's even a pathway, passive income. Okay, if you're talking about being a landlord, I've been there and done that. We can discuss it. So we talked about all the different ways in which you can derive revenue, and we talked about employee scenarios in which you can derive revenue. We talked about self-employment in which we can derive revenue. We talked about passive income in which your money could work for you, which brings me to the next subject: your money working for you. In the last segment, I talked to Queen Bee about this, and I said capitalism is your money working for you. So Queen Bee, on that note, and I know we got a lot of static, so I don't even know if I want to necessarily pass the mic and then it gets staticky, but I'm going to give it to you and say, we talked about money working for you. Don't you, I mean, when you think about it, when people become 65 years of age or older, this prime goal is your money working for you. This whole scenario, no matter how it turns out, you get old to a point that your money has to then work for you, whether it's paying you monthly or it's out there deriving more income. So, on your money working for you, what would you like to say regarding that particular, you know, area? Is it a goal of yours, or should it be a
It
goal of the
goes
people we're
back
talking
to
to?
what you said, how you plan now.
Leaving an open-ended question.
It, I mean, whatever you plan for now, you just plan for the future. Like I do the investing. I have certificate of deposits. Um, I'm into point, even taking a little dip today, it's kicking butt. Have a invest. Well, I'm gonna say I have a Roth IRA, which that's for when I get 65 or whatever age I decide that enough is enough. I'm not gonna say that when I get 65 that I'm a, so um you have to plan for what whatever or however you you'll go do that. Investing is not for everybody. The stock market is not for everybody. Having your own business is not for everybody. So you have to find out what works for you. It took me. I've only been investing 7 years now. I should say I started because I started when I was ready to start. Don't get to the point too late to start. Just have a plan and work your plan. Whether you have a plan like us with just too stressful for me, that's fine. You want to be a free me, not I'm going to keep reiterating this. I don't it I nobody do it the way I do it because this is what works for me. Just make a plan and work your plan. Whatever works for you. See, I don't like something
Okay, I'm not sure if you're done with that, but I think you are. I think you took a pause. So if not, I'll let you continue. Just put your hand thumb up when you're done. Okay, I'm not sure if you're done with that, but I think you are. I think you took a pause. So if not, I'll let you continue. Just put your hand thumb up when you're done. Okay, I'm not sure if you're done with that, but I think you are. I think you took a pause. So if not, I'll let you continue. Just put your hand thumb up when you're done. Okay, I'm not sure if you're done with that, but I think you are. I think you took a pause. So if not, I'll let you continue. Okay, good enough. So, with that being said, the time now is 5:55. We're gonna try and wrap it up, but in closing, like I said, Queen Bee has her methodology for handling it, and her way of being. That's a more peaceful way of handling it for her. And for me, myself, this is for me a more organized and orderly manner. And for me, order is peace. If I know how things are organized or in order, then I can have a sense of control and feel comfort in that. So whatever works for you, A versus B. The bottom line is we're both here giving you the insight as to earning and learning. And again, this is earning and learning, sponsored by Fat Cat Capital. Again, if you would like to get in touch with me as far as that's concerned, please do yourself a favor and email fatcatcapital@gmail.com. That's PHATKAT capital at gmail.com. I'm your host, DJ Fat Cat L, and this is my co-host, Queen Bee, and this is Earning and Learning. You guys take care, and we hope to see you soon on the next show. Stay woke. Queen Bee, thank you.